Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to this joint webinar between AMG Systems and Hexatronic, where we will explore the capabilities of our partnership for remote device deployment within outside plant networks. So by way of a quick introduction, my name is Mark Nightingale. I am a business development manager within the Hexatronic business in the UK. Joining us from Sweden, we have my colleague Jawad Saadi, who heads up the Powered Fibre division. And next to me here in the studio, we have Rob Kidd.
Hi all, I'm Rob Kidd, Sales Manager for AMG Systems in the UK. Big thanks to Hexatronic for inviting us onto this webinar. And I just wanted to go through a quick agenda that we're doing today. So I will start off with just a brief introduction of AMG Systems and who we are. I'll pass across to Mark, who will do a quick intro on Hexatronic. We'll then go to Jawad, who's got a really nice solution demo set up, and you guys can actually see some hands-on product and what we're actually trying to do with this partnership. We'll have a quick roundup, followed by a Q&A session at the end. So any questions, please put in there, and we'll get back to you at the end. So AMG and Hexatronic, why the partnership? We've been working with Hexatronic for over a year now on different projects. And when we first saw the solution that Hexatronic provide, we thought it was the ideal partnership with AMG Systems. As we go through this webinar, what you'll see is how they're able to save you time and money by a faster deployment, and using AMG Systems, greater reliability as well. And I think the products speak for themselves. And when you match the solutions together, you get a world-class fiber solution with transmission included. So a bit about AMG Systems. We've been in the UK market for 30 years. About 7 years ago, there was a change of ownership within AMG. Since then, we've redesigned the entire product portfolio from the ground up. That building there that you can see on screen is our head office in Castleford. That's where we manufacture 90% of the product range and keep all of our stock. So when I say we're a UK manufacturer, we're truly all located in the UK, and that's where all of our product range comes from. We're an ISO 9001 compliant company, and we also have a full range of tech support staff based in the UK. I don't want to go through too much of the products today. This is just a quick introduction, but I wanted just to focus on some of our flagship products. Anytime you see an industrial product, like you can see on screen, all of these products are made by AMG and made here in the UK. They're all industrial, minus 40 to 75 degrees, all with a lifetime support warranty. I've picked just a few of these products just to give you guys a quick flavor of what AMG produces. This is our flagship media converter, the AMG 260 range. As soon as we have one product range, AMG have several part numbers. We have probably over 100 different types of media converters. The one you see on screen now is available in a 1 or 2 port with 30 watt PoE or 90 watt PoE. And we have a lot of different power options as well. So you can go from 12 volts all the way to 56 volts DC. Unlike most of our competitors, these media converters also come with extra functions. So traditionally a media converter is a dumb device. What AMG have done is we've worked that board from the ground up, and these units come with a dip switch option that you can see there. Some of the dip switch functions, just to focus on, is a link fault pass-through. What that does is that tells you if the edge device stops working and takes down the fiber, so you know you've got an issue on your edge. There's also remote device reset. This is one of my favorite modes. What that will do is, say you've got an airport and you have a camera on the tarmac. That camera stops working. Instead of having to go to that actual camera location to reboot your edge device, you're now able to go to your head-end comms room, turn off that fiber port, and that will remotely recycle our media converter, which in turn, if you're using PoE, can reboot your camera. There's also a remote distance mode, which means you can extend the distance on your Cat5 cable to up to 250 meters, which is a really nice feature, and fault relay mode, which means you can toggle different things depending on the scenarios. Along with that 260 range, we've got the 260M, M standing for mini. So this is the device here. It's extremely small, which helps in lots of different applications, and we'll see when I pass to Jawad how small that can get in terms of a solution. That unit again is available with all the different dip switches, and you can have 30 watt and 90 watt all in this small device. In terms of industrial switches, our flagship product is the AMG 570. Again, just like all the products I'm showing you, -40 to 75 degrees with a lifetime support warranty. With this device, you've also got a range of those power options. So there's some low voltage options if required. You also have the ability to do 90 watts on up to 4 ports of PoE with a huge different array of power options. There's also a really nice contact closure on these units. So what you're able to do is, if you need to, you could put a contact on one of your cabinets. So if anyone opens your cabinet, you can set off a tamper alarm and you know that someone's got access inside that cabinet. This is a huge range of products for us now. So it started with 4 ports of Ethernet and 2 fiber ports. This range has expanded now, so you can get up to 16 ports of PoE with 8 SFP ports. On most of our products and projects, we are able to use our professional services and our whole tech support team. Again, these are all located in the UK. You can give them a call on any project you're working on. And in our professional services lab, we're able to actually build networks. So what we can do is we can put complete networks together, configure them, do things like back testing. We have devices that actually enable you to put true bandwidth through those. So we can test at 10 gig all the way through your network. So we're able to actually deploy an entire network of 500 switches ready to go, pre-configured, all within the UK, and you're able to reach out to us and we can help you on any project. Now I'll pass you across to Mark, who will give you a brief introduction into Hexatronic, and hopefully you'll understand why this partnership is taking shape.
Thanks very much, Rob. So Hexatronic is a market-leading OEM in passive infrastructure solutions, and we operate globally. Our headquarters are in Gothenburg in Sweden, and we have centres of excellence for engineering in both Sweden and in the UK to drive our product innovation. We have around 38 business units and 2,000 employees, and we operate on all of the major continents. We also have the usual ISO accreditation for quality, for safety, and we utilise science-based targets to use in our sustainability roadmap. And a couple of our manufacturing plants in Sweden are already JAC and EcoVadis accredited. When we look at the Hexatronic business, we effectively have 6 segments, business units, if you like. Fibre Solutions, which is the business organisation that I sit within, but we also have 5 other units dedicated to other market verticals, such as data centre, harsh environment, powered fibre, which is a subject that we'll touch on today, our wireless business, and a comprehensive training offering, both in North America, UK, and in Northern Europe. In terms of a portfolio, we have a huge range of products. I won't dig into all of the details right now, but we can offer outside plant cables from submarine cables to aerial cables. We can offer inside plant duct solutions, closures, cabinets, panels, patch cords, pre-term assemblies, structure wiring for copper networks. And we also have a vast range of installation equipment and test equipment for deploying the networks that we can support you with. And then, as you can see in the bottom corner there of this slide, we also have the powered fibre solution, which is what we'd like to talk to you about today. So we call the system InOne, and effectively what we have is a hybrid power and fibre cable, which is connected by a centralised head unit at one end and a remote access node for device deployment. What this system offers is an improved TCO when we look at deployment of remote devices such as CCTV, perimeter CCTV, or 5G mass deployment. And what we can do, and we'll show you some of the information in each slide, is we can really optimise the cost for the deployment and help you to understand how you can realise a tangible saving on device deployments in the future. The reason that we pulled together this particular solution is based on the challenges that we often see when we look at remote device deployments. As a few examples, you probably know already, power and comms will be required at most devices in the external network. There are challenges such as a 90-meter copper channel or 100-meter total channel when we look at things like PoE. Legislation within the UK dictates that AC power and telecom networks must be segregated and buried at different depths. And as we've all learned from fibre to the home and various other network build activities, up to 80% of the build cost is actually related directly to infrastructure deployment, whether that be civils activities, surveys, or underground infrastructure itself. There are also some less tangible challenges. Things like managing DNOs for power delivery can often be time-consuming, slow, and effectively expensive. And we should also consider that if you've got multiple DNO metering points on a large network, that also means multiple standing charges on your services. It can also be very difficult in these kind of perimeter security type environments to provision effective resilience for power and communications, and that's something that InOne can assist with. And of course, resilience is fine, but you also are going to need probably third-party SLAs to manage your network and manage your uptime. Again, the InOne system combined with AMG Systems switch offerings can bring some significant savings in that region. So if we take a quick comparison of a traditional CCTV perimeter network build, you can see that we have 1 or 2 devices per pole. Each pole in the perimeter network will typically have a media converter or a PoE switch inside. And inside that box, you also will need to have power conversion from AC to DC for PoE. You'll need a local fuse to isolate your own circuits for safe works. You'll have DNO fuse from the service operator, and you'll also have a DNO meter. And typically in a traditional environment, what you would have is 1 box per pole, each box containing all of those assets and effectively creating quite a complex way of rolling out a perimeter network. If we look at an InOne installation, however, you can see that we can simplify things quite significantly. So a centralized head-end unit where we house our DC conversion, optical connectivity, local fuse, DNO power and meter and all of that, which means that we no longer need to take the DNO power out to each pole within the network. Using the hybrid cable, we can use just a single duct buried to telecom standards, so only 300 mil below the surface. And as you can see from the image at the bottom of the screen there, by doing a deployment with InOne, you effectively save on around 40 to 50% of your civils because you no longer need the power trench, you no longer need the power conduit, and you no longer need the power cable. So we actually create a small form factor connectivity solution. You can put this in a 150 mil or 300 mil wide trench and use the hybrid system to deliver both power and comms to a small HAN on each post. We call it a HAN, it's a hybrid access node, where we take that DC voltage, we package it with an AMG switch system, and then you can use PoE for the last kind of meter or 2 meters up to the active device that you're looking to power. The model for InOne, as you can see, we've done a little bit of a network map here, very simple, very high level, but effectively what this system creates when we deploy it with an AMG switch, we can create a device agnostic solution for remote devices. Could be cameras, could be 5G radio, could be fiber to the antenna. We have a topology agnostic solution, and we can create a fiber ring, for example, to maximize redundancy of power and fiber. We can create a daisy chain network. We can create a fan out from a daisy chain network. Pretty much all topology options are available to you. This offers you an enhanced network resilience. Obviously, the self-healing fiber ring, which Jawad will dig into the details of that in a few moments during his presentation. But we give you a much simplified infrastructure solution. Just 1 cable, just 1 duct, just 1 trench. makes for a very rapid installation. And our platform comes with integrated alarms and management, which can also be combined with the features and functionality of the AMG switches. And of course, because we're only digging one trench and it's a narrow trench, we have a reduced environmental impact. So roadways, etc., and pathways where you might need to excavate or deploy services, we're looking at much smaller windows for access and restrictions on traffic, etc. And the beauty of it is this whole platform is safety extra low voltage compliant because we use DC power within the hybrid cable. No need for electricians, no need for fully qualified personnel. We can deploy this with a telecoms engineer, a CCTV engineer, an IT guy. And naturally, of course, ourselves and AMG Systems would assist along the route with training if needed and how-tos and toolbox talks. So that really brings me to a close for the introduction to Hexatronic and our InOne platform. I think at this stage, what I'll do now is I'll pass over to my colleague Jawad in Kista in Sweden. And Jawad, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the InOne studio here in Stockholm. It is spring already, so very exciting time. We sit here today in the InOne studio, and my part is to show you as much as possible hands-on demo for the InOne solution. Before I start with that, I would like to remind you that in the webinar, you can click on the question and answer, Q&A button, and post your questions at any time. We'll go to the Q&A sessions in the end. The webinar was booked for 45 minutes, but if there is enough interactivity and questions, we can stay here and answer all your questions. I will run fast in this presentation, but if you want any details, please feel free to post your questions. And this studio, in the email that you will get, by the way, this webinar is recorded and you will get the recording. And also you will get a link how you can book this studio for a more detailed session. All right. So to let a little bit of a background, I mean, if you're like me, that I witnessed when PoE first came out, it was amazing. You have a switch. This is an AMG industrial switch, and with single cable, you feed the data and the power. That was amazing. They started with the AT and AF, which is 15 watts and 30 watts. Then the BT 60 watt came out, and then the category 4, the 90 watt, which AMG is supporting the 90 watt PoE switches. So PoE was fantastic. But if it was a little bit longer than 100 meters and sometimes much, much longer to 100 meters, this is the limitation, the 100 meters. Lots of companies try to do PoE extenders, and they have done PoE extenders. But after you extend to 200 or 300, you start having very high error bit rates on that, and it becomes not so reliable. We have looked at it in a different way at Hexatronic with the InOne solution. Instead of trying to extend this to 100 meters more or a few hundred meters more, why don't we have a solution where we have a hybrid cable, and I'm going to speak more about that with fiber and copper, and then we push the switch down the network, kilometers down the network, and then you still have your 100 meters standard PoE. The InOne solution is a total solution. It's an end-to-end solution for the hybrid power and fiber. So it's not limited to the cable, but I would like to start with the cable and compare it with traditional installations. Here at my desk, I have a standard copper fiber. This is 5 times 16 millimeters square, typical to distances in a CCTV network up to 400 meters. If you have any distance more than that, you need to go up with this kind of cable to 32 millimeter square. So typically, you run the AC cable to the access cabinet, And the access cabinet there, you put a kind of electrical outlet, and you put the switch PSU. This is what you typically do. After you run the AC cable, you still need the fiber optic, so you usually have a standard fiber optic cable. This is part of the Hexatronic portfolio fiber optic cable, and you have a kind of a duct in this example. This is a micro duct with a micro cable, and it's a blowable cable and duct. So when it comes to the InOne, what we have done, we say, how about if we get rid of the whole AC cable? This is the most expensive and time-consumer part of the network. In a typical turnkey CCTV network, the infrastructure can take up to 60–70% of the total cost. And of that 60–70%, the majority of it is the AC power infrastructure. So now, by taking this one out, I have taken a huge chunk of the cost. Now we don't need this fiber-only cable. We want to use our hybrid cable. You see here with the hybrid cable, this is also a blowable cable. It's a slim micro cable. It has copper and fiber in the same cable, and I can use it in the same fiber optic ducts. This is one size of the cable, but we have good variations of the cable. Here is the standard cable sample. The two on the left, they are fire-rated cables. They come in different colors. In Sweden, we have them green. The three ones in the middle, they are blowable cable, and this is 4 times 0.75 millimeter square. This is double the copper, double the copper. And with basic electricity, if you double the diameter of the copper, you can either double the load or double the distance. This cable is an aerial cable. Lots of our deployments in South Africa, they're using this aerial cable, and it has two conductors of copper and a fiber optic cable. And the last cable here on the right, this is a heavy cable. The copper is 10 millimeter square. You cannot blow this. You need to pull it in ducts as usual. We've also recently introduced this direct buried cable. Some of our customers are not familiar with the blowing techniques, or their subcontractors don't have the machinery, so they can use a direct buried cable, and the copper here is 8 millimeter square. So to go back to the other side of the studio, if you remember from Mark's presentation, we had the head end that we call HDN, Hybrid Distribution Node. Then we run with a cable in different network topologies, daisy chain, fan out, point-to-point, ring topology, until we reach the access cabinet. And access cabinet, we place it as close as possible to the devices. The devices can be CCTV cameras. We are application agnostic, so you can connect anything to your industrial switch. It might be a pure IoT application or radio base stations like 5G microcells. So now I'm going to show you the HDN, and the HDN is the central node. This is where everything starts. It can be inside a sub data center, or it can be actually out in a street cabinet, depending on your network topology. So what happens here? We have the 230 volts AC coming into this rectifier, and we have 110 volts DC. The reason we're using the standard, the 110 volts standard, is used in many industries, like the rail as well. They use that one because the European safety standard stipulates that anything below 120 volts DC is considered ultra low voltage, and that makes it touch safe, and it does not require a certified electrician. So this whole network, you can skip the electrical contractors. From the 110 volts DC, you feed it to a hybrid ODF, and what the hybrid ODF does, that it takes the fiber from your fiber core switch, it comes to the hybrid ODF, the DC power coming from the power supply, and then you go out on the single hybrid cable, the InOne cable. If you need redundancy, hardware redundancy on the PSU, You can put duplicated power supplies, and then you need to add in a controller, a redundancy controller here. So this whole thing is called the HDN, and you can add as many power supplies as your network need. This central node, it can be distributed, so you can have multiple of them if you have a very large network. Like we just designed a huge university project, and they have 22 HDNs around the network, and they're all connected with a fiber ring, but the power is sourced from 22 locations. So let's go back to this. We are leaving at this point with 110 volts DC on this cable and fiber optic. Now let's walk down the network to the access cabinets. This is the lineup of our access cabinets. We call them E2, E3, E10, and E10S. The number indicates the internal volume in liters of the box. So this is the internal volume is a 10-liter box. E3 is a 3-liter box. We're coming up in the future with E15, so you can already predict the size of that box. All of these boxes are made of cast aluminum, and this is by design. They are made that the box, the enclosure itself, is the heat sink of all the heat that is generated inside the cabinet. So let me bring you a little bit closer and show you how the what we call HAN, hybrid access node, what it looks like. Here I have the InOne incoming cable. Let's assume that this is 1 kilometer away, and now that voltage have dropped from 110 volts at the HDN, and now we are at 92 volts DC. The industrial switches, they require either 48 volts or 53 volts, and you can switch between these two voltage levels on the card. A lot of the industrial switches, if you're providing PoE++, they require 53, so you can just flip the switch here. But if you only want 48, you leave it as the default setting. So the voltage that is coming here, 92 volts, is going to this power card. The power card is regulating the voltage, only the voltage that is used inside this cabinet. The outgoing cable on this panel, I can connect 2 outgoing cables, and you can actually parallel them if you want to connect more. So here you have the cables, and it goes to the voltage regulator, and from the output here, you get the regulated voltage. The fiber tube is being spliced in this fiber cassette. It's being spliced to pigtails that is feeding the SFPs in the industrial switch. And then you have the Cat6 cables going out to your devices. This switch here from AMG, I think this is, yeah, it is an 8-port switch, but we actually, me and Rob, we checked, you can fit the 16-port switch inside the E10 enclosure, and I think this is 8 is usually enough to most applications. But if you need more, we have that solution. The TNS, S is for safe box. It comes with a mechanical lock on the cabinet. This one doesn't come with a mechanical lock. You just fasten it from 4 corners, and you need to fasten it to keep the IP65 rating on the cabinet. IP67 can also be achieved. So here we have a mechanical lock, and if I open the cabinet, you see it looks the same, but here we have added a place to add a magnetic 3 sensor. This is a grade 3 magnetic sensor to get an alarm if somebody opens the cabinet. This is a seismic sensor for tamper alarms. And we added an auxiliary tray where you put your own PLC to collect these alarms and send them to your network. You can also get a model of those hands with sensors, voltage and current sensors. And these are extremely important because all this data, you can feed it to a network management system. You can feed it to the AMG network management system or to any network management system. And then you get alarms. And the alarms, they help you if you have a cable damage. Now, even the physical infrastructure can be part of your network monitoring, which is extremely important. Because, I mean, the fault in the device is usually limited to that device, but the fault in the network is more critical because everything on top of that network will fail. So to identify a behavior that this is a problem in the cabling system or problem in the active devices is extremely important, not only with the response time, but sending out the right technician to the site. There's lots of advantages for having the sensors, but it's not the time now that we discuss it. Let's take, for example, the smaller size, the E3. And here you see, it's the same power card, same principles, cable coming in, cable coming out. You have a second output here, splicing at the cassette. But here we have this amazing AMG Mini, I think you call the series, Rob, the Mini series. And this is a media converter that fits in this small box. Fantastic form factor. And the E2 is just the power card. So this is like a termination. Then you need to take the regulated voltage and the fiber out of the cabinet. All right. One thing to remind you that typically, if you want redundancy against power failure in a typical installation, then you're using UPSs, and sometimes the UPSs are placed in the access cabinet. With the InOne, you can place the UPS in the central node, in the head end, and then everything gets connected, that is connected to that HDN will be redundant. Another requirement that we received from our customers that these cabinets, when you install them, of course, it's quick in installation. It's far quicker with one civil work, with one network, one cabling, skipping all the AC. It's much faster. But in fast deployment, like emergency services or events, you need something to be even faster. So let me take you to the other side of the studio. This is our InOne deployable solution. And the InOne deployable solution, it's the same components. You have an HDN, you have an HAN. This is the same InOne cabinet that you saw before, but this is just painted black. The big difference here is the cable. We're using here a tactical cable, and I think most of you know what a tactical cable is, but this is a hardened cable that you can step on it, vehicles can drive over it, and it is fitted with pre-terminated expanded beam connector. These are hybrid expanded beam connectors. They connect the power and the fiber. And what an expanded beam connector is, it's a hardened connector. Not only that, fiber optics usually needs a clean environment to splice it or connect it. These ones are done with a field, also for military applications. If this is put in the mud, you just wash it in a bucket of water, connect it, and it works again. These cables, we're making them not so heavy. The drum, they can come also with a backpack. So we limit it to 25 kilograms in weight. So it can be man-carried, but you can daisy chain them. And these plugs, they connect either way. I mean, you never need to worry about, is this the male or a female, the plug or the socket? You can daisy chain them, and then you just plug the other side of the expanded beam connector to the InOne cabinet, and then everything is working. Everything works immediately. You have your industrial switch and connect your devices. There is here also another socket with an expanded beam connector. So not only you can daisy chain the tactical cables, but you can daisy chain from this cabinet to the next cabinet. Imagine in situations where you have events and you want quick deployment, or an emergency situation that you need to deploy very fast, quick networks. This is the way to go. When we talked about InOne, and I showed you the HDN and the HAN, everything was about voltage regulation. We reach the access cabinet, and in the access cabinet, we regulate the voltage. But what about if you have a simpler network? Shorter distances or point-to-point distances, we have a simpler solution. And now I want to show you what we call the InOne passive solution. And the InOne passive solution, it requires an HDN, but you don't start at 110 volts DC. You start only at 60 volt. Then the voltage will drop along the way. And if you're in the distance, like after 500 meters, you reach 48 volts, then it's fine. So you can reach with that load anything below. You can reach anything less than that 500 meter distance. And you can see that very easily in our design and calculation tool. And this cabinet, it is the same, all features, IP65, cast aluminum, heat dissipation, everything, but there is no power card, there is no voltage regulation here. You bring your switch, put it in this cabinet, connect the power, splice the fiber, feed the pigtails, connect your devices. If you don't need this big enclosure to host your switch, maybe you have larger cabinets or different thing, you can buy just this. It's also IP65, but this is just a termination box where you have the InOne cable, you splice the fiber to pigtails, power connection, and you feed the power and the fiber out of this box. In the Q&A, in the end, if you have any questions regarding the design tool, I can refer to that. And what else? And I can show you also an example of how when you connect all the alarms from the InOne network to your system, you can create a dashboard with a single line diagram. So you know if the problem is with the active device. Like you see here in the dashboard, I have an alarm that the door is open. Then you know, do I have scheduled maintenance, or this is an unauthorized access. This concludes my presentation. I don't know, Danny, maybe you can look at the Q&A and see, we can start answering the questions.
Yep, thanks, Jawad. Okay, so I've got a few questions in here already. So question number one, how far can you blow a hybrid cable, and what are the typical installation limitations?
Well, that's a pretty good question, and in effect, it will depend on the how difficult the route that you have created with the duct network is. Things like climbing to different altitudes, lots of direction changes, etc. However, as a general rule, typically a micro cable or even a hybrid micro cable can be blown 3 to 4 kilometers. And if you need to extend that distance, what you can do is start in the middle of the route and effectively blow 3 kilometers in one direction and 3 kilometers in the other. So I doubt very much in many kind of perimeter security applications we'll need much more than 6 kilometers in one route.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Mark. Question number two then. How much power can the remote node deliver for a device? I
think Jawad, probably, do you want to take this one?
Yes. In the hybrid access nodes, these guys, they come in with 2 different power cards. This specific power card can deliver 150 watts locally for this box, but then when you go to the next box, it's another 150 watt. The other model is the high power one. It can deliver up to 300 watts, which is plenty of power for a single access point. And that card actually can deliver another 30 watts with 24 volts if you need to connect PLCs. Some of our customers, especially in perimeter security, they put maybe a gate controller, they connect a gate controller to the box, and then they need 24 volts. Or if you want to collect alarms with a PLC, and typically PLCs work on 24 volts.
And from an AMG point of view, we have a huge range of different managed switch options and media converters. So you just need to tell us how many 30-watt ports you need, or how many 90-watt ports you need, or a mixture of both.
Fantastic. Brilliant. So question number 3, or comment number 3. I don't like the way the cables are exposed in the access box. We don't like cables to be visible or exposed.
I agree with you. Lots of customers agree with that. I don't think it's unique. Let me try to get a shot here. And if I move this down a little bit. I think the person that's asking this question is referring to this. Yes, there is an alternative. Let me try to find. It's actually here. We have these conduits, and you get these. This is the hardened one. I don't find around me the standard one, but this is the hardened one. This comes from Anaconda, and you can buy the fittings from us. You can buy it from us, but you can also source it directly from Anaconda. And I don't know if you can see this. This is like really hardened steel from inside. So many customers, if this is not high on the pole, then they actually fasten this connector here, and they route the cables with that, whether it's the Cat6 cables or the InOne, the incoming InOne cables. You don't need to use this one. There is a standard one, like a corrugated type, but this is the hardened steel one. So in city surveillance, when it's coming down the pole, this is what is usually used, not these exposed cable. Nice point.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Danny?
Yeah. Okay, so next question is, do AMG have any layer-free switches?
Good question. So the majority of our switches are layer 2+, and they have always been. We've never really done too much in the layer 3 world. We had a partnership with Juniper for our bigger projects, where we're able to combine AMG at the edge and Juniper at the core. But stay tuned. By the end of this year, I wouldn't be surprised if AMG bring out some layer 3 switches. But please stay tuned. We'll keep you updated.
Amazing, Rob. So next question then. What is the maximum amount of 90-watt PoE ports you can have on an AMG switch?
Oh, good question again. So our 8-port unit, you can do 4 90-watt PoE ports, which is generally enough. We find more than enough. And different combinations, we find the 4 90-watt PoE ports is the sweet spot, really. Generally, we'll have 2 90-watt ports and 4 30-watt ports, but 4 90-watt ports should be answered.
Nice one. So next comment then, you mentioned a design tool. How does it really work, and how can one get access to it? Before someone answers this, I have links the URL in the chat.
All right.
Yeah. So, just to elaborate on that a little bit. Sorry, Jawad.
Go ahead.
So we have a dedicated website for the design tool. And as part of the package that you will receive with the follow-up email from this webinar, it will include a link to that platform, which also includes all of the data sheets and accessories for the products, as well as an introduction to the design tool itself and how to use it. So Jawad's very kindly just popped a segment up on the screen there. So it's effectively a drag and drop tool. You can select different components for the head end, for the hybrid access node, for the cable, and you can daisy chain, you can branch, and build your own custom network. We actually do a formal training program for this as well, so we can do a training webinar, or you can spend some time with myself or Jawad, and we can take you through it if you need support with using that platform.
Exactly. But you have the link, and you have it here in front of you, inone-design.com. Please go. You get links also for some tutorials, and in the footer, in the user guide, you also get a link for the training webinar that we did last week.
Amazing. Okay, so next question then. Can we do our own designs? Some of our projects, we cannot disclose any customer information.
Exactly. Spot on. And this is most of our customers are like that. The design tool is not actually an application that you download. The design tool lives in your browser. We do not save any of your data. If you close the browser, all your data disappears. You can download it to your local drive and then upload it again to continue with the design. You can also export the visual of the screen, and you can also export a bill of material. But most of our customers don't want to disclose any customer information. We teach them how to do the design. Usually it just takes a half an hour to an hour session, even with somebody that doesn't know electrical principles. They just need to know what is their network topology, the distances, the loads. If you want to balance things, like when you're calculating the load, I mean, it's the sum of the devices, but you also need to understand the load of the switch. But then you just save it on your local drive, keep it yourself in your safe environment, or close the browser and it will disappear forever. So it is quite safe, and most of our customers are comfortable with that.
Yeah, AMG have a very similar approach as well. We weekly do network designs for people, but all we really need to know is how many ports you need where in a location and what power they need. And I can design you. I don't need to know what it's for, what the site is, anything else. I can still help you design a network without knowing anything about end users or any of the specifications or details, what's actually going on in the network.
Nice one. Next question. In our perimeter security, we have radar and other sensors. Can they also be connected to the InOne?
Yes.
Great question.
I'm not in a position to disclose any customer names, but in many of the perimeter security, recently, the past 2 years, most perimeter security have radars. And we have integrated with many radars. There are radars that are working on standard 48 volts, but there are radars that are working on 48 volts. And some of them don't even have a PoE connector. So you need to take a cable with the regulated voltage out to the radar. Actually, in some environments, it's a utility environment. They have radar in every installations, and those that are used are 24 volts. And they have their own SFPs. So you take a hardened fiber patch cord from the HAN to the device and a power cable, and you feed it. So the InOne is absolutely application agnostic. I mean, we installed InOne in Norway for the salmon fish farms. They connect radios. We've used them for recycling company that they use them for controlling mechanical devices. We're doing now a nice start of a big project. Actually, now we're in the pilot with that we can announce because there was a press release with Telaura with 5G small sites. We've done IoT, we've done Ericsson Minilink microwave radios. So you can think of InOne as a power and data delivery system. And along with the AMG, then you get the IP switching layer with the PoE connectivity.
That's great, Dan.
Thank you.
Good question.
Okay, next one, guys. Is there a degree of surge protection and DC isolation on the 100 VDC line? My reference for surge protection is the South African environment.
Yeah, Jawad again, I think for this one. The answer is yes, but Jawad will explain a little more.
Yeah, we have surge protection. We have surge protection in the HAN. at the access cabinet, and we have surge protection at the HDN in the central node. Today, we don't have isolation protection, but that is coming soon. Yesterday, I was in the meeting where they just released the final design, so we're gonna also include isolation because we're using floating DC, so we definitely need that. And for the person that asked, I'm sure that you have a good electrical background. So with long lines, I mean, if you want to do this from scratch, bringing any hybrid cable, build your power supplies and all of that, you will need some kind of circuit breakers. Circuit breakers on 2 kilometer long cable don't work. I mean, you could short the cable on the other end and the circuit breaker will not trip. And this is the beauty of the solution. We have current limiters. And because we have done that, now we have to introduce the isolation protection. Spot on.
Cheers. Okay, next one then. Is the fiber optic cable single mode or multi-mode?
So the standard fiber optics that we use within the InOne product are all single mode. We have had, on occasion, customers ask for multi-mode options. It's something we can do, but to be honest with you, because we tend to look at longer distances, typically with these kind of networks, you know, up and above 1 kilometer, single mode is generally the preferred option.
Yeah, we definitely see more and more people pretty much in the security market all trying to use single mode where they can. And from an AMG point of view, we sell over 100 different types of SFPs for 1, 2 core, multi-mode, single mode. It just doesn't really matter to us. We just need to know what fiber's in the ground.
Nice. Next question.
Usually, sorry to interrupt. Usually, it's better option to change your SFPs if you're using multi-mode than buying a multi-mode cable, because in multi-mode the cable cannot be as flexible. It's much harder design on the cable that makes it far more expensive. Plus, multi-mode is inferior when it comes to distances. I mean, the legacy that it was a little bit less expensive, but not any longer. So the best option is to change the SFPs. If you have legacy devices, to change them from multi-mode to single mode and use single mode cables. But that's, of course, up to the customer in the end.
Thank you. Okay, next question then. Let's go for this one. Do I need to use a qualified electrician?
That's a simple one, and the answer to that is no. Because we are operating at 110 volts DC or lower, we have a touch-safe safety extra low voltage platform. So other than your DNO metering or handoff point into our HDN, everything downstream from the HDN towards the device is safety extra low voltage. So IT engineers, CCTV, telecoms, network guys can all work on this. And of course, both AMG and Hexatronic would offer some toolbox training, etc., to assist with those initial deployments while people get up to speed with the technology.
Thank you, Mark. Question for Rob. Do AMG sell SFPs?
Yeah, so huge range. Just let us know what type of fiber it is. And yeah, we stock hundreds, maybe thousands.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll follow that up with will Hexatronic be selling AMG switches, and will AMG be selling Hexatronic fiber?
Good question, Rob. So for sure, we can provide AMG switches in isolation. We have a distribution agreement within the UK with AMG Systems, so we can absolutely supply devices. However, I wouldn't want to step into a relationship or inside a relationship that AMG already has with customer base. So if you have a direct relationship, continue with that. But if you want to buy a switch from me or an InOne system that has got a switch built into it, absolutely, we can support it. And I guess in terms of reversal.
Yeah, I'm not going to be getting involved in selling any fibre, is the long story short. AMG are a manufacturer of transmission solution. I think it works absolutely perfect in the Hexatronic platform, but I think we need to let you guys do that sort of design and the sale, and we're just here to support you guys on network needs. A great question. Thanks, Danny.
Thank you. Yeah, if anyone's got any more questions, please drop them in. But we've got one left for now. The last question at this current time is, do I need specialist insulation equipment?
Oh, in terms of cable installation, I guess. So, yeah, if you're not familiar with the blown fibre technology, then yes, you potentially will need installation equipment from somebody like Plummetars or one of the other cable blowing machine manufacturers. But as Jawad highlighted when we were looking at the cable section of his demonstration, there are blown cables available. There are low smoke cables for in building use, and I will caveat that with depending on where you are in Europe, because we have some slight divergence in standards. But we also have pullable duct grade cables and also direct buried and aerial cables. So depending on your experience level and your knowledge of the infrastructure that you're installing it into, yes, some tooling may be required. However, if you don't have that equipment, we do offer a rental and training service on installation machinery if needed as well. Or we can put you in touch with one of our partners who could probably provide the installation service for you.
If there are any follow-up questions like that following on from this webinar, you'll each get an email with all of our contact details, phone numbers and emails. So if you have any further questions at all, please feel free to reach out and just get in contact with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So Danny, have we got any more questions at this stage?
No more questions. I guess that's a wrap then. Okay.
Well, in that case then, from myself, and my colleague Jawad and Rob next to me in the studio, thank you all very much for attending. As we've mentioned, you will get a follow-up email with links and content, etc. And yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Cheers.